to look at Benji Acol, and I thought I'd do a little talk on this subject because Benji Acol is a convention that I used to teach in the past. I haven't covered it for a long time, but I know some people play it, and it's a convention which appears to be quite useful, but I'd like to question really whether it is that valuable. So before we get onto that discussion, I just better discuss what it is. Normal Acol is what's on the screen there. I hope you can all see that. And it's playing 3 week twos, which is a very popular system. You keep 2 clubs as the strong bid with 23 or more points or game in your own hand. And then the 2 diamond, 2 heart and 2 spade bids are all weak bids, showing something like 6 to 10 points with a reasonably good 6 card suit. And generally that's what I like to play. Benji Acol is slightly different. And in Benji Acol, you use the 2 club bid to show a hand not quite good enough to open to show 23 points, but something worth a little bit less than that, about 20 points, a hand worth 8 playing tricks. And then you use the 2 diamond bid as your strongest bid, and then the weak bids are 2 hearts and 2 spades. And Benji Acol appears on the face of it to be quite a good compromise between playing weak twos and strong twos. So many of you, when you learn to play bridge, myself included, may have learned strong twos to start with, that an opening bid of 2 diamonds, 2 hearts or 2 spades was a strong bid, showing 8 playing tricks, not quite good enough to open 2 clubs. So Benji Acol appears to fit the bill. It allows you to show both the 8 playing tricks hand, as well as keeping a very strong hand, the 23 points, and playing weak twos in the major. And in fact, when I first learned about it, I started playing Benji Acol, but I did come across some hands where it was a little bit awkward. And I noticed a few weeks ago, there was one hand in particular where Benji Acol really was rather awkward to play. And it was actually this hand here, which was played on Friday, December the 9th. And you can see on this one that most people played this in hearts, although really you should be playing this in a spade contract. If you look at this little grid here, you can actually see that the computer says you can actually make 7 spades, but only 5 hearts. And I did notice also that some of the people playing Benji Acol found this hand quite tricky to bid. So I wanted to look at this one in particular and see how it should have been bid. Of course, everyone should have been in game here. Everyone should have been at least in 4 spades. But quite a lot of people stopped short of game. So that was also not an example of not very good bidding. You should end up in game on this hand. So let's have a look at how the bidding should go. So West here is dealer, and with 24 points, I hope everyone would open 2 clubs. East has just got 1 point and bids 2 diamonds. That shows 0 to 7. And then West, you're planning to bid your suit. You want to play this in hearts or in spades, wherever you have some kind of fit with your partner. So you start off with 2 hearts here, and I've got a poll for you, which is what should East respond here? So have a little think about that. What do you think East should bid in response to 2 hearts? And I'm going to launch that poll now. And most of you have gone for 2 no trump, with 26% voting for 3 clubs, and 1 person saying pass and 1 person saying something else. So let's switch back to it. Well, this is an ideal hand to bid the second negative. And there are different schemes for what is a second negative, but the one I like to use, and it's also the one in the EBU materials, is if the 2 no trump bid is available, to bid that as the double negative. So the 2 diamond bid initially showed 0 to 7, and with a really weak hand, say 0 to 2 points, you should bid 2 no trump, and that's what you should bid. Any other bid shows at least 3 points, should be showing 3 to 7 points. So that's why I like the bid of 2 no trump here. One person suggested bidding something else. Would you like to tell me what that was, if that person can unmute themselves and speak up? You don't have to, but if you would like to, you can. The other thing you mustn't do, of course, is you mustn't pass. And it was that 2 club bid followed by a bid of 2 hearts creates a game forcing auction where neither East nor West is allowed to pass until game has been reached. So as you saw on the score sheet, a lot of people did stop short of game and obviously really misbid on this hand. So anyway, after 2 no trump, it comes back to West, and West can bid their second suit, bid 3 spades. They want to play in one of those suits, and there's no need to jump here. 3 spades is absolutely forcing because of the 2 club initial bid. And East, given a choice of those 2 suits, should bid 4 spades. So really, you should end up in a spade contract and probably 4 spades. Now, whether West goes on after that is a sort of a bit of a gamble, really. You know that your partner's got some kind of fit for you in spades. On the other hand, they're incredibly weak with no more than 2 points, so you may well pass. Or if you like the look of your hand and you think, I'm going to go for it, you may well bid 6 spades. There's no point asking for aces because that 2 no trump shows 0 to 2 points. Your partner's got no aces, no kings, but with a spade fit, maybe you would end up. Anyway, you should end up in 4 spades or 6 spades there, I think. Now, how would you bid this if you're playing Benji Acol? Well, in Benji Acol, the strongest opening bid is 2 diamonds. And the response to it, the negative response, is 2 hearts. So let's see, suppose you're playing Benji, you start off with 2 diamonds, your partner bids 2 hearts, and then you bid 3 hearts. Now, what can East bid now? There's not a poll on this, but I'd just like you to think about what, if you were East in this bidding sequence, what could you bid? And really, there's nothing attractive. I mean, you can't really support the hearts just with a singleton. You don't really want to start bidding at the 4 level because it may be that 3 no trump is a place you want to be in. So I think you have to bid 3 no trump. And if East does bid 3 no trump, what can West bid? Well, West, you really don't know whether you've got any kind of heart fit. Your partner didn't support you by raising 3 hearts to 4 hearts. And West is really in a pickle here because you'd like to mention your second suit, but that would be 4 spades, and you've no idea whether your partner's got any kind of fit for you in spades rather than hearts. So I think West probably just has to bid 4 hearts here, and that would end the auction. It's very hard to introduce both suits here. And the other problem with Benji Acol on a hand like this is that you end up in a heart contract, and it's East who is declarer on this hand, which is, not, I mean, it could work out well, but it's not really what you want. It's sort of a bit odd for the weak hand to be declarer. So I would say the disadvantages of Benji Acol is that it's particularly hard to bid 2 suits because you're bidding at a higher level. And if your suit is hearts, it ends up with a weaker hand as declarer. So I'm not a great fan of Benji Acol. On the face of it, it seems like quite a good system, but I'm not convinced now that it really is that great. If you,
Tony,
yeah,
don't want to throw a spanner in the works, but
yeah,
we do play Reverse Benji, and that does actually get us out of that one,
yeah,
which perhaps
yeah.
you're about to show.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So if you do like Benji Acol, then you might try Reverse Benji instead, as Steve just said. So that's an improvement, and it reverses the meaning of the 2 club and the 2 diamond bid. And it's really exactly for that reason, that it keeps the bidding lower when you have the strong 23 plus or game in your own hand. So yeah, if you want to play Benji Acol, I would recommend Reverse Benji for that reason, that it avoids the because it makes it easier to bid, especially when you've got 2 suits and when you want to play and when you've got 23 plus points. And the hand where you've got 23 plus points, I mean, showing that is really important to be able to do that. Whereas showing the 8 playing tricks, in my experience, is not that valuable. I mean, there are certainly hands where you would like to do it, but I'm not really sure whether it's worth it that much. So I would say it's no great loss not to be able to do it. And you know, if I'm filling in with someone and we're discussing what we're going to play, I will normally go for 3-week 2s rather than talk about Benji or Reverse Benji, which introduces a bit more complexity. Also, other systems like Standard American do not really have a way of showing this 8 playing tricks, and I think you can probably get on very well most of the time without worrying about it. So what that means is that if you have a hand that's almost good enough to open 2 clubs, you have to decide, if you don't have a bid that shows 8 playing tricks, you have to decide whether to open 1 of a suit or 2 clubs, or if the hand was suitable, maybe 2 no trump. So let's have a look at a couple of hands and see what we would decide to do. This one is 17 points, and I think this one will be very suitable if you wanted to show a hand worth 8 playing tricks. It's probably worth 8 playing tricks with 6 spades and 2 other aces, and this is a hand you might want to show as 8 playing trick hands. If you don't have that bid available because you're playing 3-week 2s, then I think I'll just open 1 spade. And if my partner can't respond to that, then we quite probably won't be in game anyway. So this is a kind of hand I think I'll just bid 1 spade on. If my partner responds, then I think I want to end up in game, because if they've got 6 points or a couple of cards, then we hopefully want to be in game there. If I made this hand a little bit stronger, so here this is a hand with 20 points, and again you would be sort of thinking, shall I open this with showing my strongest hand, 2 clubs, or 1 of a suit, or what? Well, I think this is just tipping the balance in favor of opening 2 clubs. If you think about it, although it's only 20 points, you've probably only got 3 or 4 losers there, 2 clubs, a heart, and maybe a diamond. So I think with this, even though it's not quite 23 points, even though I can't be absolutely certain I've got game, I think I'll be opening this one 2 clubs. One way of thinking about it is, you know, imagine your partner, say, has got just 3 points. They might pass an opening bid of 1 spade, but if they, 3 points was a king of hearts or a king of clubs, then you'd be missing out on game. So if you don't have the bid available to show 8 playing tricks, then you basically have to decide whether to open 1 of a suit or 2 clubs. And I think that second one is just about good enough to open 2 clubs. Any other comments or questions on it? But if you like Benji, my recommendation is that Reverse Benji is probably a better system. The other thing I wanted to look at was, sorry if I switch to the right screen, where are we? The other thing I wanted to look at was actually how that hand should be played. And this was, it was, as I said, played on the 9th of December. And I'll actually show you how it was played by going to the Real Bridge link. So if I bring up the Real Bridge link, it shows the results there. I didn't bring that up just because we won, but just because I want to see how board 3 was played. And here you can see how it was played. Again, a lot of people stopped short of game and also played it in the wrong suit. They played it in hearts rather than in spades. But played in spades, even if you don't bid a slam, you would get a good score for making 12 or 13 tricks. Oddly enough, the one person who bid and made a slam played it in hearts, and they were very lucky with the lead. They ended up playing in 6 hearts, and they got a club lead from the south hand, which helped them make 12 tricks there. But the computer says that they should not make a slam. They should only make 11 tricks in hearts, but you can make 13 tricks in spades. And I just wanted to click on this link just to show you, because my partner Barbara Hill was declarer, and she played it very well. So this was our bidding on this one, and it was exactly as I described in the slides: 2 clubs, 2 diamonds, 2 hearts, 2 no trump, 3 spades, 4 spades, and that was passed. So against 4 spades, North was on lead, and North led the ace of diamonds. And let's have a look at how you would play this hand. So if we look at trying to work out how many losers we've got, if we look at the spade losers, we hope we won't lose any there. And we've got the queen of clubs, which may well lose a trick. And in hearts, you need to think about how many hearts do you have, how many hearts do the opponents have, and do you have any possible losers in hearts? So we have 7 hearts, 6, 1 there. That means the opponents have got 6 hearts. And if they were divided evenly, 3-3, I hope you can see that you could cash all your hearts and you would make all the heart tricks. But the more likely distribution when you're missing 6 cards, as I hope you all know, is 4-2. And in that case, what you need to do is imagine that there's some distribution like that 4-2, and that will mean that you have a potential loser in your hearts unless you can rough it. And that's what you should do on this hand. So this is how it was played. They led the ace of diamonds, which West roughed. And because you plan to rough a heart, you don't want to draw trumps yet. Start with the ace of hearts, everyone follows, then play a low heart, which you rough in dummy. And if you were playing this hand, if you think about it at this point, just take stock of where you are. You've played 2 rounds of hearts, and that means that 7 hearts have gone. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 2 outstanding hearts, and that means your hearts are now established. It doesn't matter how they divide, whether it's 2-0 or 1-1. Now you've established your hearts and you can make all those heart tricks. The other thing you can do at this stage, now that you're in dummy, and this is the last time you'll be in dummy, is you can try the club finesse, which is what Barbara did. And this time the finesse succeeded. And so she was able now to just draw the remaining trumps, and the rest of her hand was good. So that was very well played. At this point, I think you just claim you've got, and you can make all 13 tricks. So that was really what I wanted to demonstrate, how to bid hands like this, how to bid these two suited hands. Start off with 2 clubs and then try and bid your suit. And also you need to be thinking about long suits like this, where you can establish them by roughing in dummy. And that was a very successful way to make all 13 tricks.
Tony?
Yeah.
Taking that finesse would be rather risky after you trump that heart, because if the king is on the other side, they can lead another heart out, which is going to be roughed in the other hand.
That is true. So there is a risk in that, yes. So yeah, in fact, if the finesse had failed, then North might have given their partner a rough. So although it worked out well, it was slightly risky to take that finesse. I think if I'd have been playing it in 6 spades, it's probably not worth the risk. Probably worth just not risking to get the over trick. But so you don't want to be defeated there. Also, one other thing that you could have done to decrease the risk would be to draw 2 rounds of trumps before you try to rough a heart. So in other words, if you cash the ace and king of spades, then rough that, then you're decreasing the chance of a rough when you play the clubs. But you're absolutely right that there is a risk involved in going for that finesse there. So maybe it would be better not to. But in any case, you should make 12 or 13 tricks one way or the other. Thank you for that observation. I did notice that as well, yes. Any other comments or questions on that? So that was really what I wanted to talk about. Does anyone have any views about Benji Acol and you know how it works out for them? Do share those with the rest of us if you'd like to speak.
So if you're going to play Tony Benji, then your 2-no trump opening will also vary, won't it?
Yeah, so one I didn't talk about, the other advantage of Benji Acol is the other advantage of Benji Acol is that you can change your 2-no trump range. So I haven't got it on the slides here, but yes, you can adjust your no trump ranges to be more specific. In other words, you can bid 2 clubs and then rebid 2-no trump, or 2 diamonds and then rebid 2-no trump to show a different point range. So that is another advantage of Benji Acol, which you can also do in reverse Benji, of course. So it is useful, but I think reverse Benji is probably more useful. When I'm playing, you know, just filling in, I normally want to play something relatively simple, which is why I normally go for, let's go for Acol with 3 weak 2s. But if you have a regular partnership, by all means, if you like Benji Acol, it does have some advantages. Any other comments or questions on any of that? So anyway, that was all. Yeah.
Quick question. You haven't set any hands tonight that are going to punish people playing Benji, are you?
I don't believe I have.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
I don't think so. No, when I used to play Benji, and I came across a few awkward hands, and then I saw that hand last month, and I thought that one is particularly difficult, playing normal Benji Acol. But yes, reverse Benji, I think, is a definite improvement for those, for the reasons that Steve and I have mentioned.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Those people who play Acol Benji, so that means they don't play weak 2 diamond.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the slight disadvantage of Benji or reverse Benji is that the 2 club and the 2 diamond bid are both strong bids, and there's no weak 2 bid. I don't think that's much of a loss, because we open 2 weak 2s because it has a preemptive value. But the preemptive value of 2 diamonds is not that great, because 2 hearts and 2 spades in particular have a much better preemptive value in keeping the opponents out of the bidding. But anyway, those are just my thoughts on it.
One more question, Tony, because they say if you have got only 0 to 3 point after 2 club, you should pass.
Okay, who told you that?
It's written in the everywhere 0 to 3 you should pass, and
Okay.
3 to 7 you should do 2 diamond.
Okay, if you can show me that anywhere written, I will challenge it, because that is a terrible system. You must never pass 2 clubs. 2 clubs is an absolutely, I mean, whatever your strong bid is, whether it's 2 clubs or 2 diamonds, you must absolutely never pass that. And if you think you should, I would urge you to have a look at that again, because
Okay, I will send you.
You do that. I will challenge whoever's telling you that that's a good system to play. It's a terrible idea. If 2 clubs, it shows a hand like this, you can see it must never be passed. Anyway, let's thanks for that. I look forward to do send me anything you have about it. I will add, there are lots of different systems of responding to 2 clubs, and maybe that's what you're thinking of. There are some other systems, but I don't think in any of them would I recommend passing a 2 club bid that shows a very strong hand like this.